long now. Now I gotta hustle, guys, so I might not be able to talk. Thumbs up if everybody's still following along live. Thanks for staying tuned in. I'm way behind on time, so I might have to fly through one of these passages. This one's coming from 2008, Australian Human Rights Commission, Aboriginal Australians. Okay, for too long now. Disadvantage. False account of poor standard of housing. These guys any categories to action of government, any outcome that limits the accountability and responsibilities of government. Okay, this is important. Equal goods, human rights, practical. What the point of the recognition of what achievement? So it's like saying why do we spend so much money on this initiative when we don't even know what came of it? Any accountability. So lacked any accountability. The practical, right? This is practical, but is it really, like, are we really getting anything for this? Look back at the past 5 years and figures, practical. Without engaging with indigenous peoples, fundamental flaw as passive recipients, right? John is skilling up so they're capable of utilizing human rights as a tool for best practice policy development and accountability. The opposition minister, the leader, the prime minister, the leader of the opposition, ministers for all others, close the gap in health inequality was shut out. How this community that? Government, one of the things to do. Okay, I'm going to skip those just to try to make up some time. I can always come back, right? It commits all of these organizations, government, among other things, but this is the commitment that they've made. So if I need to go back, if they mention commitment in one of those questions, I can go back. This is a way to potentially make up some time. These commitments were made in relation to poverty, marginalization, Spanish, entrenched ongoing challenges. The first okay, so I think I understand. One central theme of the passage, explaining the rights of national health outcomes. Maybe, guys, with this passage, this is a hard one to read and stay focused on, especially if you're not. I happen to like history, right, and political policy. So this one was easier for me to understand, but this is a great passage. Number 4, thumbs up if this might be you, right? But number 4 tends to be a little bit more difficult than the other passages to stay focused for most students. So think about that, right? Expanding legal rights. Thumbs up, guys. Again, thumbs up if that makes sense. I don't think it's A. Human rights should generally receive more funding. No, the more funding thing was like kind of a back burner. Human rights should be used as a framework for policy. Maybe that's in the last. Whoops. That wasn't my timer. That was my phone timer. Sorry. I don't know why that went off. My phone alarm. Human rights should be focused used as a framework for government policy on indigenous issues, focusing. So make sure that's not a problem. I got all sorts of stuff going on. I'll keep going. Human rights. That's by the way. Don't bring your phone to the SAT. That's a good reminder for that exact reason. If your phone alarm goes off, you get kicked out of the SAT. So don't. So make sure that it's silenced. Good reminder. An unfortunate good reminder. I think it's C. They mentioned that in the last passage. I got to keep moving here. Okay, guys. Thumbs up if that has ever happened to you. According to your comma, the government's failure to link its initiatives on health initiatives. Negative attitudes, no. It undermines efforts to standardize, maybe. Something not this one. Corrects the pattern of government abusing their authority. No, abusing is not what allows the government. Yeah, it's definitely D, right? This is the answerable part, right? They talk about that pretty at length in the left side of that passage. There's no accountability. You can spend as much as you want, but if you don't have accountability, what's that really going to get you? Calm indicates that in the past, destroying government stress, which aspects related to the willingness is shown to meet with indigenous leaders. Definitely not, right? Everybody remember that. Thumbs up, guys, if you remember that. The regretted is expressed for injustice committed against the peoples. No, I don't think it's expressed that. The improvements is made. No, it's definitely D, right? It's stressed. Indicates that in the past, it's the government wants to keep talking about how much money they've spent on it, but that doesn't mean that they've actually done anything, right? That's a huge central point of it. Line 30, decide. 30, decide. The fact is that there's been no simple way of being able to decide whether the progress made to determine, right? That one should be pretty straightforward. Guys, does everybody see that though with those last couple questions? That's a great example of if you have a general that's why that's why reading the passage can be so critical, because you can move through these questions pretty quickly if you have a pretty thorough understanding of generally what's going on, because on difficult questions the answer choices are kind of one of one. Anybody feel that way? Anybody see that? So based on the passage, Kalma would most likely agree that programs related to indigenous have better chances of succeeding if the Australian government system advising empowered indigenous communities. Maybe, right? That's the part talking about why haven't they talked with any indigenous communities, funded such programs? No, it's definitely not. A better chance because they have funded the programs, modeled such programs on healthcare initiatives. I don't think so. What is in your research for the previous? No, I don't think it's that one. I think it's empowered indigenous to assist, right, in devising such programs. That's the part. And this is talking about, I know where that is, passive recipients, right? So it's either right there or in March, the leader signed a statement of intent, set of the committee. I think it's this one, right? Passive recipients. I think it's right. Does everybody see this again? Everybody remember this? We talk about passive recipients here, and that's not what that policy has not been good policy in the past. Okay, so beginning with the 9th paragraph, I'm still a little flustered by that alarm going off. I can only imagine how it happens in the real thing. Lines 42 through 88, right? I think that's the focus of the passage shifts from the actual. Remember this shift from the actual like discussion about what the problem is to. No, my Apple Pencil's low. I got so many issues going on here, guys. Yeah, this one's definitely B. Criticism of the Australian government's past approach, right? That's kind of the entirety of the previous discussion to a more right to what they're doing now. The list in lines 55. And he serves to. I might have to do the rest of this with my finger, just writing with my finger. Develop ambitions mainly serves to. No, I think it's summarize actions, right? Develop. I think that's the bullet points. Enumerate summarize past agreements. No, I think it's B. Propose. Oh no, sorry. I think it's A. Summarize actions specified. Right. It's not including. I think that one's pretty straightforward. Slides used in line 72. Targets. 72. And with benchmarks and targets. So benchmarks and goals. Maybe they use that. Perfect benchmarks and goals. Right, guys, if you try to define the word, sometimes the word becomes what you're thinking of in your mind. Does everybody see that? That's why whenever I see the word in the passage, I always try to say it to myself, what I think it would mean, and most of the time, right? Because these aren't typically too difficult in terms of those word choices. You can sometimes just get the right answer just based on what you say out loud. Based on the passage, Coleman regards the audience of the speech as being skeptical. I don't think skeptical, right? Will be held accountable. I don't think so, because they're moving in the right direction, poorly informed about the economic. Maybe doubtful of value. Doubtful of the value. don't think so. I think it's this overly tolerant, right? I gotta go check that, but I think they said that at the very end of this. Yeah, we need to lift our expectations. So what's that, like 84 to the end? I think it's 84 through 80. What was that? I think it's these last lines. Right, we need to raise our expectations. All right, just to make sure that I trigger.